Dari, hello. It is Thursday, the 14th of April, 2022. And in front of you, we have on the left an Apple iPhone and watch. And on the right, we have a Google Pixel and Garmin high-end sports watch. And the purpose of this video is a setup video, a context video, an overview video of the testing that I'm currently doing in the heartbreaking possible move from beloved Garmin to hated Apple. So let's step back a little bit and try and understand what on earth I'm doing in the context of a decade plus Apple skeptic person actually looking at the left hand side an Apple subsystem for my athletic use. So this is a video to discuss the overview of using the Apple subsystem for health instead of what most athletes and professionals would use, which would be a Garmin subsystem. And in front of you are the list of parameters that I'm looking at and the reasons why I'm thinking about changing. And the overall, the underlying, the thing that's pushed me completely over the edge is Garmin's latest line of sports watches. So until recently, the Garmin Fenix 6 range was the top of the line for Garmin smartwatches, and athletes would choose a watch like this, which is a Fenix 6 Pro watch, as kind of the ultimate in what you could wear. But then Garmin released the Fenix 7, and they also released a companion product, which I'd argue was a lot better, called the Epix range. And that range is arguably a lot better. Why? Because it comes with an AMOLED display. Now, the Epix 2 range start at a mind-boggling £799 for the base level model, raising to something, and I think it's £999 for the better one with the sapphire case, so the sapphire display and the fancier metal case. So just to put this into context, this is a watch which costs about £400, and on the left we have an Apple Watch which in its current spec is about £400, including the fancy strap that I bought for £14 off Amazon. And really, I am flabbergasted by the increase in prices that Garmin want me to pay, and I really balk against the increase, especially when, as this test is going to show you later on when we have the results, let's say, this Apple Watch, which was bought second hand from Amazon warehouse, it's an Amazon return. So the cost of this Amazon warehouse iPhone 12 plus the actual watch is less than the cost, so that's together, is less than the total cost of the new Epix 2 Garmin watch. So I've rambled on a bit. I'm going to conduct a test of what the differences are between this combination on the left and this combination on the right. But here are some of the parameters we're going to be looking at with respect to you're an athlete, you're a health professional, you're a very healthy person, you use your watch day in, day out as a reliable source of sleep tracking, exercise tracking, athletics tracking. What are the parameters that I'm going to look at to check whether this new combination is any good or not? So I'm just going to go through this isn't an answers video, this is just a parameters video. If you're in the same position as I am, what kind of things are you going to be looking at? So ease of use. So how do these two components relate to each other? What benefits do you get, for example, on the Google platform of having a smartwatch? For example, notifications of things that appear on your smartphone but can be sent to your watch. Can you answer them from the watch? When notifications come in, how do you process them? What's the linkage between apps on your phone and apps on your watch. Slightly ruin it for everyone. In the Apple subsystem, basically apps that are available, amazingly, Apple is available on your smartphone, magically just show up on your watch to many respects, which was not expected at all. Usability. So the early Apple Watches had this daft idea that the display would not be on continuously. But this Apple Watch, the latest Series 7, does have that ability. Whereas on the Garmin side, having a steady on display is what you'd expect, and you wouldn't expect anything less. Connections. So if you're an athlete, you might be using any or all of these services. These are all the ones that I use. We've got Strava, we've got Garmin Connect as your base. I'll put Garmin Connect in here. So we've got Garmin Connect, let's say Garmin Connect and Apple Fitness, let's say. So you've got the base level, you've got the vendor provided health service, which would either be Garmin Connect or Apple Fitness. Then I would use a Concept 2 rowing machine, so I've got Concept 2 to connect to. For cycling, I would use a Garmin cycle computer. There are also other things to connect to, like Google Fit, and Withings do scales and blood pressure monitors. All of those got to be connected to. So does the existing watch combination and smartphone connect to all of these services? And does the new smartphone and watch combination connect to the same services? And how does it work? Mapping. So one of the benefits of having a high-end Garmin watch is that the watch all by itself has a worldwide map, and you can create a course on your smartphone or web page, send that course through your smartphone to your watch, and then you can run that course. Can you do the same on the Apple Watch, for example? And if you want to make adjustments to that route, how would that work? Do you have to go onto your smartphone, or can you go onto your smartphone and adjust the route that you're currently on? Can you make changes to that route on the fly, or do you have to set everything up in advance and there's no flexibility? For example, on the Garmin cycle computer range, on the 800 range and the 1000 range, the actual head unit itself has now got a worldwide map and rerouting. So you're off for a cycle and you decide, you know what, I'm going to change that route, I'm going to extend the route, or I'm going to go to a coffee shop 20 kilometers in a different direction, and you can do that, and the Garmin cycle computer all by itself can adjust the route. How's it going to work in this Apple platform world? Additionally, how can you import and export routes? Because it's no good if you have to stick within some sort of Apple subsystem. You actually need to be able to import routes from other platforms. So people are going to say, I've got a route, a GPX route for my Garmin watch. I'm going to give that to you for your Apple subsystem. Can I import it? Visibility, maps and notifications. So visibility is one of the key reasons why I'm unhappy with this combination, and why I'm wondering whether this combination is going to be the saviour. So this combination is based on the LCD technology. The Epix 2 watch range is based on AMOLED. AMOLED is a lot brighter and easier to read, whereas this old malarkey is colour in theory, but in actual practice it's so close to black and white or grayscale that I don't really see the colours. This, the Apple Watch, is, as you can see, just beautiful, and something I can actually read. In terms of, so visibility is one of the key things that I'm going to be looking at, especially when you're looking at maps. So you can download a map to this watch and with a route, and you can run that route. The trouble is that if your eyesight isn't 20/20, or if you're slightly elderly like me, then you can't actually see the map in any detail. But on the Apple Watch, with its AMOLED display, will it be at last readable? Watch control. So by that I mean to say, how easy is it to interact with the watch? The Garmin watches typically have 5 buttons Here we've got a scrolling wheel which you can click and you can also turn, and you've got one other button here. So there are reasons to have physical buttons on a watch. Touchscreens typically don't work very well in the rain, and whilst the new Epix series does have touchscreen ability, it's backed up with the buttons. And so I'm worried that moving to this platform with its single button isn't going to work out very well at all. Sleep tracking. So Garmin in the last year has introduced and implemented tremendous sleep tracking. You can wear this watch 24/7 except when you're charging it, and during that time you can accurately track all your activities as well as your sleep. So it shows you the different types of sleep you're in, REM sleep, etc., how long you're in those sleep sections, and when you're awake, and that's purely automatic. You don't need to say, I'm going to sleep at a certain time. The Apple Watch is known to be sleep non-existent tracking, and I think they've improved it slightly, but have they improved it enough to make it anywhere near as good as the Garmin? I'm not sure. Cost. So again, it's a bit of a sore subject in my opinion, which is that manufacturers have decided that no cost is too large for your gadget of choice. We've seen smartphone manufacturers up the price way past £1,000, 1,000 GB pounds, and now smartwatch manufacturers are at it as well. So the Garmin Epix 2 range is just a frightening example of the fact that Garmin would like to spend about or close to £1,000 on a flagship product watch, which may be very capable, but Apple, incredibly, are only asking me to spend £400 on that watch. So amazingly, the Apple product is so cheap when compared to the Garmin with its AMOLED display. The Apple combo is looking like it's a way cheaper combination, which is bizarre. Apple have never been known, in my opinion, for their low-cost option. As opposed to segueing straight into proprietariness. So both these platforms are slightly proprietary. Garmin is a proprietary platform. It doesn't truly allow you to import and export your activities or add to your activities in a very open way. You can add routes and courses onto this watch, and there are ways of transmitting your data into Strava, but they've always made it slightly difficult. And the question is, how is it going to be on the Apple Watch? Are they at the same game? Apple are notoriously a walled garden. They have their own health subsystem. How do you get work activities into and out of that health subsystem if you don't, for example, use their health app? Is their standard health app any good? Is it configurable? If it's not any good, can you use somebody else's health app or running app? And how would you integrate, for example, the Garmin Cycle computer into the Apple Health marketplace? That would be replacing the Garmin Connect. So how am I going to integrate all of these different products into the Apple subsystem? And finally, what activities am I going to consider? Well, I'm considering swimming, indoor and outdoor, running and hiking, cycling and rowing. And I want to consider those basically at a short level and also at a medium competition level. So that's at the distance or time, let's say, of, let's call it, say, 3 or 4 hours. And then, of course, for ultras, we've got like a short ultra, if you like, which is like, say, 6 hours. We've got a medium ultra, which may be like 12 hours. And then a really long ultra, which is, let's say, 20 hours. So is it possible to use the Apple subsystem here for that 20-hour extreme competition, or is it just impossible? So those are all the parameters I'm going to look at. I've been evaluating this for at least a week and a half now, so I know quite a few of the answers, but I'm not going into those points right here. I just want to set up the scene and make everyone think about, I've been a Garmin user for over a decade. I've been an Apple critic for over 15 years. Has the Apple subsystem now matured into such a product that it can not only compete with the Garmin but overtake the Garmin in select areas? And all this, Mr. Garmin, has come from the fact that you wanted me to spend £900 on a new Garmin smartwatch with an AMOLED display. So if you hadn't started me off in that direction, I would have paid the money. I would have paid, let's say, up to £500 gladly to buy a new AMOLED display Garmin product watch, which could do everything. But I really, really, really do not want to spend £1,000 on a single watch when a new smartphone, a new cutting-edge smartphone, is about another £600 or £700. That really, it just seems too much to me. Okay, Dari, that's all the parameters, that's all the background. Now all I've got to do is do the analysis and come up with some answers. So I will speak to you shortly.